A Man Called Otto, out in theaters, latest Tom Hanks film. This one is a remake of a Swedish film, which was an adaptation of a Swedish book, both titled A Man Called Ove. Haven't seen the previous film, I haven't read the book. What I have seen was the trailer for this new version, and I'll be honest, it didn't really convince me that this was going to be a good film. The promotional material revealed that it's going to be kind of a same old story. A grumpy old man who's a self-styled peacekeeper of the neighborhood, enforcing all the ridiculous rules on others and sort of not understanding the younger people and not getting along with anyone else, who then slowly undergoes a change for the better under the impact of his new neighbors, the loud, outgoing people, friendly people with young kids. Now, sometimes I go to see a film and I want to like it. By virtue of it being made by someone I like or respect, or because I think the concept is really interesting in some way. And then it sometimes happens that as much as I want to enjoy that movie, that final product, I don't, because it turns out flawed. A Man Called Otto is the reverse of that, where I had low expectations and was primed to not like the movie very much. I thought it was going to be formulaic and that the trailer already spoiled the entire plot, including the best jokes, which is a terrible thing because the movie was marketed as a comedy. And I also thought it would probably be too sentimental. Well, color me surprised because I ended up enjoying the film tremendously. I have to admit that it pulled on my heartstrings in very unexpected ways, and I got watery eyes more than a couple of times during the course of the movie. I mean, it really dragged me in, emotionally speaking. I was also surprised by how different tonally it was from the trailer. I mean, yes, there are funny moments, and yes, there are also heartwarming interactions between the characters, but there is also quite a lot of darkness in the film. I mean, the first 10 minutes or so reveal something very somber about the central character. And what I liked about the story is that it doesn't just quickly and magically fix everything with easy cliches. Otto doesn't immediately change his point of view when confronted with kindness. Change for him is a long, difficult process, and even when you think he's opening up and warming up to people, he still goes back to what he's trying to do at the beginning of the film. And conversely, even when he does begin to change eventually, there are still elements of his character that stay true to who he is. So there's a great mix of humor and sadness, of optimism and more somber tones. And I wouldn't say that this mix was perfect and without a flaw. And yes, sometimes it dips into sentimentalism, but what matters is I was on board in terms of the emotions of it all. I cared about what happens to all these people in the film, and I felt for them. Now, Tom Hanks is back to good form after a couple of questionable roles in Elvis and Pinocchio, to name just two. And now he's doing a really great job of playing this grumpy old man with a sort of hidden elements of Heart of Gold, for whom this grumpiness is an unhealthy coping mechanism to deal with grief and trauma. But for me, the heart and soul of the film is Mariana Treviño. She's just wonderful as the new neighbor Marisol, and she's the perfect mix of warmth and sort of fuzzy vulnerability with a really explosive, outgoing personality. Someone who doesn't take shit from anyone, someone who doesn't take no for an answer. She's the center around which Otto's worldview begins to change, and she's played to perfection, I think, by Treviño. I found her funny when needed to, and then she was also responsible for some of the more emotionally touching moments in the film. So just great stuff from her. I also liked the other side characters in the film and the way they all interact with one another. There is a real sense of community by the time the story ends, and it's the kind that I think is now rarely found in modern movies. So yeah, overall I really loved this film, kind of beside myself. I was expecting a middling comedy, and what I got was a very touching mixture of drama about processing grief and character-based dark comedy. It works much better than I ever anticipated it to. I had a great time, and I'm happy I went to see it in a theater.